Good morning, everyone. Okay, cool.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Pauline. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Pauline
Let's
Abiola
just,
Oshodi. I see my
yes,
profile is somebody else, but yeah,
yes. So just,
the picture is all right.
yes, I understand. Totally understand. So let me just, good morning, everyone. Good morning to a fresh week. How was the weekend? Hopefully it was a restful time for some of us. For a lot of us here, it's been a lot of activities and you know, there's been a lot of activities, been a lot of planning and all of that to get the program going. On the call with us today is our facilitator. But before I introduce our facilitator, I like to recognize my colleagues, and Basi is on the call. I like to recognize Shin and Sue. They've been really helpful, really supportive, and most especially, I like to recognize each and every one of us from our respective countries. From Nigeria, it's Monday and it's sunny here, so hopefully, I I think it might be sunny in South Africa or Rwanda or Zambia, Ghana. Quickly, I'd like us to, so we'll start in a few minutes. I would like to give us the opportunity to if anyone has something to say concerning the previous session. Please, this is the time. Just indicate by using the raise hand feature, and I'll give you the opportunity to say something. Could be a question, could be a comment. We've had two courses now, and I'm hoping that it's been beneficial to us. Um, I'm hoping it's been beneficial to us. Today and this week, we are going to be diving into a different, course, a different water, a different, terrain. It's about funding. So you could have this very beautiful idea and all of that, but then the money, funds, availability of different resources is what will give those ideas traction. So this week's course helps us to, navigate these waters. So am I seeing a raised hand feature here? Okay. Let me see. So let's give those that would like that are joining a few seconds to do that before we kick off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you from Ghana. So I think I there was an information that was shared in the weekend concerning our volunteers, and some of us have responded, but I'm here to see my brothers, my sisters from South Africa joining that. It's very important that we have country reps in each of our countries. So some of the things that you'll be doing as a volunteer include just a second. So some of the things that you'll be doing as a volunteer includes so basically going around the helping with content creation and development and publicity, media round, because part of what we intend to do is to be involved in some media rounds. Some of us will have the opportunity to go to radio stations and will be supported in that for that action. Some of us will be involved with sharing opportunities. Some of that, so I've seen in some of our groups, some of us have been able to share programs that are ongoing, like the African Climate Summit, and so many of those brilliant opportunities. We also need country reps to provide guidance, technical support, being our eyes and ears on the inside, helping us to be able to give you an enriching experience altogether. Okay, so someone wants to speak. Okay, let me see. Richard, yeah, Richard Success, you want to say something? Let me allow this to go. Richard Success, you can unmute your mic, speak.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If you could just increase the timbre of your voice, so that everyone is able to hear clearly.
Okay. What I have to say is just to comment about the previous sessions that it has been a great milestone that we have all achieved. And for last week, I think I missed the last week's presentation, but I'm trying to catch up with the recorded session. And so what I have to say is that we should just keep on the momentum. So, but regarding the forms, I think we filled the forms, that is the reps and what to say, but we haven't gotten feedbacks yet, and we are hoping that we get the feedback. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you mentioned a very important thing about the projects. One of the things that has been delaying, best believe that the groupings have started, but we need more of us from our respective countries to use the form. I think we can repost that information. So in our respective, groups, we won't want a situation where team members are afar off. And if you are afar off, there might be a way that you can just really come together and do something very brilliant, together. So we encourage you to fill in that form so it's easy for us to allocate you to groups. You can expect that before the end of today, for those of us that have filled in our names into groups, we would have our names. You'd have your group allocated there. So that is that's for information on the groups. Okay, so we can give more people the opportunity to speak. So let me just do this. Likely is 11:15 will start. Yeah, go on with your success. So you have the question to ask.
Oh, yes, yes. I have a question. Thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to find out more about especially I am from Ghana, and my region, I had only seen about two people in my region. You know, we have a lot of regions in my country, and there are two people in my region. So I don't know when you are grouping, is it possible for two people to work in a group, or maybe are you going to join us from maybe from this particular region to this particular region to all come together? And if it is that, how are we all going to be coming together to, champion this project to its success?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for success. Welcome, Bamidele. Bamidele Oyewumi is a colleague. Bamidele, you're welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. So, someone has asked about their project group. So I think the situation is how about if you have two different people from far-flung destinations, so the same country, but they are in different destinations. So of course this is being resolved. Just a second. All right, everyone. Good morning. It's another time on Zero Carbon Africa Impact Fellowship. On the call with us is our facilitator, Pauline Abiola Oshuni. She's the executive director of the Badili Institute. But before I officially welcome her to this program, I would like us to meet Pauline. Pauline Abiola Oshuni has a rich experience working with the governments, development partners, diplomatic missions, and corporate organizations with a good understanding and track record of sustainability, CSRO, and ESG advisory, as well as corporate governance matters. She has over 15 years of progressive professional experience in diverse profit and non-profit environments, with increasing professional experience working on economic and social development projects and social development projects with state and non-state actors at various levels, including those supported by International Development Agency. Pauline has a great track record establishing sustainability models and SDG adoption for sustainability in many organizations, both local and international. She leads, coaches, and develops high-performance teams with an emphasis on developing capacity in sustainability, system strengthening, strategic analysis, planning, program development, implementation, and management for organizations looking to scale at whichever level. Pauline is committed to continuous personal and professional development and has advanced her skills in various international and local training, including trainings of trainer for Champions of Change by the USAID, project management by Microsoft for Africa, and African Management Initiative. Success at Work in 21st Century, among others. She serves at various forums as a convener, organizer, panelist, facilitator, moderator, and participant hosted by the United Nations, various embassies, and you can agree with me that there's a lot to this. Some of our professional milestones and awards include the UN Habitat Emerging Community Champions 2016, Mandela Washington Fellowship. She's a Mandela Washington Fellow 2014. She's a Vital Voices Lead Fellow 2014. She's a YGAP Spark Change Maker 2014. Yeah, please, if you are impressed, please just keep jamming those hands, keep showing her love with our emojis. She's an alumnus of the Cherubler Foundation of Women's Leaders Mentorship Program, and she is a mentor to many. And with a warm welcome, let us welcome our facilitator for the course, Climate Change and Sustainable Investing. You're welcome, Pauline. You're welcome to Zero Carbon Africa Impact Fellowship. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayowa.
Morning.
Thank
It's
you.
actually a handful. You're welcome.
And thank you to everybody. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for celebrating me. I celebrate you too. I'm going to put on the video for a short minute so that you see I'm not the person that is showing on your screen.
Okay, so let me just stop sharing and do this. I'll make you the co-host. Okay, so we are the co-host. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Keep
I'm
let's keep
humbled. I'm
doing
humbled.
this. Let's welcome our facilitator. Oh, I have really amazing students here, really amazing audience from 6 African countries. We have people from Nigeria, from South Africa, from Rwanda, Zambia, Ghana, and Kenya.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
I didn't want to
somebody
mention your Kenyan name.
Please,
Yes.
can you just type into the box which country you're from so that we see, please? It's just
All
good.
right.
This is a class. We are learning from each other. So please, all the participants, we can quickly just type in which country you're from. That would be amazing, because really it doesn't matter, but because we are global citizens, but I mean, it's part of just the networking bit and knowing who is from where.
Yes.
And because it's a really small world, you'd be surprised that we share, you know, I can see Zambia there, I can see Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, RISPA, Kenya, Ghana, Rwanda, Kenya. Wow, Rwanda, Nigeria, Kenya. Wow. Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana.
Yeah.
Wow. I love this class. I see someone from Eldoret in Kenya, South Africa, one of my favorite countries to visit. Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you for participating. So this is me. I know the video is not so good, but this is basically me. I just wanted you to see that I'm not, you know, in this day and age, it's good to show yourself so that people are able to relate with you. So thank you very much. So I'll quickly just be switching off my video so that we can get on with the class. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Perfect.
I see people are still telling us where they are from. Welcome, and thank you very much. So if you can quickly just dive into the class. So first and foremost, I'm quite impressed because of the, you know, high interest in the matters of sustainability, ESG, and climate matters. Because if I can just give a short story, when I got into this, it was almost by accident, and there was very few of us. And when we'd speak about it or be interested, people would be like, what are you talking about? And by then we were very young, and people would just think we are coming up with crazy ideas. You know, when you're starting on a path that is not being taken by many, people always think that you're crazy. Just by a show of hands, how many of us have been misunderstood, especially maybe by our parents or other people, like they don't understand the path we are taking in terms of our careers? Just quickly, somebody just put up your hand. Like, I mean, I can see you. Okay, it seems like, oh, okay. Somebody raised their 2 hands there. I can see. Wow. So it seems like people are more, if I can use the term woke, our parents are more woke, or maybe you're not telling your parents, because back in the day, we were either to be doctors or lawyers, or I don't know, one of those things, pilots or something like that. So anyway, my path did not, of course, start from sustainability. Nobody starts from the ground up, I mean, just from sustainability, because even the courses, we don't yet have degrees in sustainability per se, because sustainability itself is a discipline that is more professional or learned and practical, other than just learning and applying, right? So for many of us, and that is not to discourage anybody who's young and starting, it's amazing that you're starting from the beginning, because in whatever path you take, then you know what you're, you know, gearing up towards. So what really plunged me into this was the fact that I had a background in the corporate sector. And then I started my career, I started working very early at 17 in Kenya. We are lucky. It's not like in some countries where there are not many opportunities. And I come from a family where immediately after high school, you're gifted with a job. So we used to take a gap year then. And so this is basically an introduction into how I got into sustainability, just in case somebody is wondering, how do I get a career and actually really make it big in sustainability, not just getting in for trying, but actually building a career. You don't need to take as many years as some of us took. So the background in corporate, and then I got to a place and said, there has to be more than just making money, you know. And then at that point, I got into the NGO sector. But because of my, you know, business background, I have a BCom and MBA, and I was like, that was around, I was about 24, 25 then, and I had like 7 years of work experience. And they were like, and I was like, no, I need to do more than just make money, because I was in organizations that were making millions and millions and millions of money. I mean, I've been in pharma, and if you know pharma, the pharmaceutical sector, they make supernormal profits. And then I was with Safaricom, and I mean, I'm sure everybody knows them, Safaricom, for many years, and we were making supernormal profits. But I was like, there's got to be more than this. So I just took a small break and went into development, NGO work, and I was like, no, I don't like the concept that people are waiting for grants just to be able to work. What happens then if they don't get grants or they don't get support? And there was donor fatigue at that. Somebody's saying they can't see me. Would they like to see me? Mayo, permission to put on my video for a little bit. But I showed my face before. I can't hear you. Mayo, we can't hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, so you can, right? So maybe I'm just excited because I mean, there's seen someone from our previous speaker has been from Nigeria, so it's nice to see a different you know, maybe.
Okay. Just for a little bit. Okay.
All right then. Thank you.
So where was I? Sorry, my lighting is bad. And if you hear noise in the background, I'm a mom too, and the summer holidays are on. So I mean, it's part of sustainability. We are encompassing all our lives together. We're integrating our lives. So it should not be a big deal if we hear children in the background. So yeah, where was I? So I got into NGO work, and I didn't like it at all because it didn't make sense to me. Like, how do you just wait to be supported for you to be able to do that? That's not sustainable. So what I did is that I started incorporating sustainability models into NGOs. That was about 2013. And that really took off crazily, because if you remember, there was crazy donor fatigue at that particular point in time, but yet the NGOs do such important work. We all know the work that the NGOs do, the government cannot do, corporate sector cannot do. And that's why we do partnerships a lot in sustainability. So I got in and I started having that conversation. So yeah, I was a very young girl and people thought I was crazy. So I set up programs. So at that point, I'd gone for a short course in Harvard, and I had a partner in Harvard, and I went there and I saw that they were doing, they have like the MBA and PhD students work as teaching assistants for the professors, right? And at that point, I remember in our country, Kenya, we had the president then had introduced free primary education, right? But then had not increased the number of teachers. At that point, the teacher-student ratio was crazy. That meant that the quality of education was going down. So a good thing, without being properly informed, then can cause a lot of harm. Because if you're doing 70 students to one teacher, I mean, the students will not get quality. So when I went to Harvard and saw that model, I came back and said, why shouldn't we do it? Let's get bright secondary school students who are in their gap year, and then incorporate them into the system to work as teaching assistants in the public primary schools. And that's what we did. My God, that program was amazing. So we had so many Form 4 leavers that were waiting to join university just come in. And the teaching outcomes were amazing. We won award after award. Like, you know how you start doing something and you don't actually know what it will propel into. And that was big. You know, we got national awards, international awards. We got so much support. Now, it's not about the awards, but what actually happened is that now I started going to the corporates because of the organization that I had. And I said, you know what, please, what is your CSR funding like? Can we do these programs in these schools that we are doing? I mean, we are working in. You know, they're okay. What are your CSR programs? They have water programs. They are digging boreholes. I told them, you know what? It's good to dig boreholes, but do these people really need? Why did you do borehole in place X and not Y? And they couldn't answer. Why? Because the CSR, and we started the lesson, please. As we go on, just you'll pick up the points as we go on and on and on, because I don't want this to be a lecture. I want us to learn from each other. So I'll ask questions after my narration. So I asked them that, why did you do the borehole in this place and why not anywhere else? I said, okay, we had a CSR budget and we asked people to vote and people voted for this place. So I asked, based on what? And they couldn't answer. So millions and hundreds of millions of shillings, you know, and if I can put in dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars were being put into projects that were not viable, you know, and that were not sustainable, just because maybe the CEO at that point felt that they wanted to take the ball in their place, or, you know, I'm sure you identify, how many of us identify with what I'm saying, that there are projects that get funding that are not necessarily viable and are not the much needed, right? So and I'm sure a lot of you that are saying, oh, we don't have funding, because if I ask people, why isn't your organization taking off? They say lack of funding. And I'll tell you one thing, there's so much money that we can't finish. The only problem is that where it circulates may not always be the best place, right? And one of the reasons we're doing this course is actually to correct that, or to remedy that, or to give you tools to know how to navigate that. Yes, somebody is talking about political projects. Yes, those are dicey. Please put a pin on that and remind me to talk about that. There's political and also faith-based projects, but we're just talking about generally things like education, healthcare, you know, general projects that benefit the populace regardless of their political affiliation or their faith affiliation. So anyway, the thing is that we found that corporates were not well informed as to what was needed and in which groups, on which demographics, and in which regions. So I started helping corporate organizations with that. And I mean, we got so much traction, and there was better recorded improvement in terms of not only their impact, but also their performance and their bottom line, you know, because what happens is that if you invest in in a community, then what happens is that they become more and more loyal to you, you know. Think about, for example, Safaricom. Why do you think Safaricom has done so well? And I'm sure Safaricom is practically all over East Africa, I believe, right? And even if they're not in your country, I'm sure you've heard about them. And if you haven't, please check them out. Big organization. They are behind the M-Pesa innovation that has rocked the world. So anyway, why Safaricom has succeeded? I mean, they're very expensive compared to other networks, but it's because of their impact and the fact that they are on ground with people. They are very people-driven, you know, very, very people-driven. So start talking about organizations. It's not only about profits. Think about the people. Yes, we do CSR, but your CSR is not well targeted. So I started helping them with that. Now, anyway, back to the partnership that we had with this particular project I was running. It did extremely well. So it benefited both the schools. The teachers were very happy, because what happens is that when the students who are very young, primary school students, I think from ages, I think 7 to 13 thereabouts, they're able to relate better to people who are 18, 20 years old, vis-a-vis the teachers that are much older. So the performance was good. We brought in clubs, you know, that the students enjoyed, and there were energetic people to teach them, our volunteers. So we also got national acclamation, and the office of the vice president, who is the president now, actually adopted the program, but for a higher level, which is post-university graduates. I don't know how it's doing now, but we helped them roll that out. Our project is still going on. So basically what I'm saying is that sustainability is not just about doing good, but sustainability, for it to actually do well, you need to be able to encompass and understand the tenets of where is the money coming from, who are actually controlling the purse strings, and also government. Because when you talk about projects, all projects are owned by the government. When you really think about it, most of the projects are just by, if anyone can type and tell us what their area of interest are, maybe not even the area that they are working in, but also the area of interest are. Are you interested in health projects? Are you interested in education? Is it climate that you're interested in? Is it, you know, what are you interested in? Please let us know if you would. The reason I'm saying this is because I want to be able to pick up some things and be able to do a bit of little consult here and there, and little idea dropping. As we said, it's all about being practical. Now, just realize, I like somebody said, I've seen a lot of climate, I've seen sport, and I've seen education. I like the people who are saying, let's say sport and climate, education and climate, and this is why. There is no, I see research management, climate and sustainability, interesting. Now, if you're interested in climate, I want you to open up your mind if you're going to do really well. And okay, advocacy and health, I can see, okay, thank you for all your responses. You're very good students, well done. And with this, please allow me, I'm sure you've seen me enough. I cannot put off my video so that, yeah, we can continue. So anyway, wow, I like this, wash and climate, gender and climate, amazing. Now, if you want to be successful in issues of not just climate but sustainability, because you can't divorce the two, you know, is to be able to look at all the other pillars that you can work around, right? Reason being, climate is, I don't want to say often misunderstood, but people only think about climate sometimes very one-dimensionally, and especially when we talk about government, right? I'll give you a very interesting example. I'll give examples from Kenya and Nigeria a lot because I am both. I'm both Kenyan and Nigerian. Our current president apparently is viewed as a champion for climate and climate change, right? And at the last COP in Egypt, he got quite a sizable investment into matters of climate, right? And he's been here and there talking about in Paris and all that, talking about climate. Amazing. But then if we can dial back and Kenyans in the house, you can raise your hands and participate and tell us this. About 2 months ago, he allowed logging, right? Which, I mean, when you really think about it, when everyone is talking about climate, they're saying plant more trees, right? But after being celebrated all over the world, 2 months ago, he now said, you know, you can cut down trees. Now, and that's why I'm saying when you're interested in this field, you really will see a lot of contradictory issues and matters, and especially when it comes to government, right? And a lot of us, and especially those of us who are young, do not have the, what's it called, the bandwidth to work with government because of some of these things. You feel misunderstood, you feel they don't get it, you know? And like we said, politics gets in the way of things. But all in all, if you want to thrive in this field of sustainability, ESG, climate, you really need to find a way of working with your government, especially in the area in which you want to impact, you know? So put a pin on that. The lessons have started, right? Put a pin on that. So how many of us are having problems with the local governments or wherever they want to work, in the locality they want to work? How many of us are having problems with that? And what kind of issues are there? If you can just type it in there. You know, anyway, so as I was saying, that was just a little introduction as to how I got into this. So moved from corporate, went to development, realized it's not working, stumbled upon sustainability because it was able to encompass all my, you know, my education and my experience. And that is how I was able to actually really make it. And till date, sustainability is actually my career, right? And congratulations, because when you talk about the future of work and all that, people only think about digital, but without sustainability, you will not be able to survive in the workforce in the coming years. Why? Because all organizations are actually now demanding that people be able to incorporate tenets of sustainability in all their operations, not just having a small sustainability desk or talk about we are doing so well in CSR, but how does your CSR actually match to sustainability? Now, we have about, is it 7 years to the end of the decade of action, right? I don't know, do you feel like we have done very well in regards to the kind of actions, you know, as individuals, as governments, as, you know, as just generally in terms of our sustainability efforts, our ESG efforts? Somebody's talking about local government has low to no funding to drive policy. I see you, I see you. Now, this is the thing. I'll teach you something about partnerships. I'm sure you know, but we're going to talk about partnerships because local governments themselves Somebody's asking, CSR is acronym for, is corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility. Somebody's saying lack of funding and corruption. Well. That's why I'm going to actually focus on a lot of partnerships work. And that's why I went back to my background in regards to how you'll make it. Because if you don't actually see things for what they are and get past the hurdles that are there, you're not going to make it in the field of sustainability. And what will happen is that a lot of money will keep getting back to the World Bank, will keep getting back to the UN, and all these people that are trying to fund climate action and other sustainability efforts, right? So what I want is to hear a report of resilience from this particular cohort. I can see right now there's 168 of us. And for me, I don't see why any of us should be left behind, because there are practical ways of doing this. So I don't want to hear lack of funding again. I hear somebody talking about lack of knowledge about climate change. That's amazing, because you're now here and you've taken a step. I see that's Rispa Mogire. I suspect she's from Kenya from the name. So the idea is that you need to get more and more knowledge, but above getting the knowledge, you need to apply what you're learning, right? I like what Hasey is doing. Hasey, we have been good partners with Hasey over the years. And the thing with Hasey is that they'll always give you not just the knowledge, but they'll give you opportunities for you to be able to not only learn, but also be able to get other opportunities, whether it's, they have a wide network and they have a lot of resources for you. So somebody's talking about climate action is not well spelled out. And that is actually very true. And that's why you have to take it upon yourself to actually do a lot of research, because it's still evolving, especially in Africa. In the West, they kind of have gotten somewhere. They've not figured it out 100%. I can tell you that for free. And the thing is that as much as the information may come from the West because they were early adopters, we know we cannot copy and paste things of the West to Africa, because our terrains are different. The way we do things are different. We are not in the same place in terms of development. What we view as development may not be viewed as development in the West. So the idea is actually to figure out where we are at as Africa, be very cognizant of where you are, your terrain locally, and be able to first, when you have the knowledge and the facts, be able to interpret that for it to be successful. But if you copy and paste projects from the West, it's not going to work out for you. That's what we keep calling, what do we call it? Is it greenwashing or whitewashing? And we don't want to do that, because it's not the correct way of doing things. Now, some of the objectives, or rather the objectives that we want to meet, some of the objectives that we want to be able to meet, sorry. So some of the objectives, sorry, something just happened to my computer for a little bit. Okay, I'll get back to that. Let's just first continue. I've lost my presentation guide, but I'm going to get it right now, don't worry.
Okay, would you want me to share it from my end?
Yes, yes, you can, but I found it already. I found it. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, first and foremost, sustainable investing, right? And we call it socially responsible investing. What exactly is it? If you remember from my story, I've actually mentioned a little bit of it. When you talked about the CSR, somebody asked what CSR stands for. It's corporate social responsibility. Very lightly put, it's like when an organization does what, I wish this was a physical class so that you could all shout answers. But generally they say, oh, we are sponsoring 100 needy students, to go into maybe high school or university. I'm sure you've all had that. And maybe some people are beneficiaries of some of these scholarships, right? Or we are buying school uniforms for children that are, what's it called? That are, from poor backgrounds. Or we are taking care of pregnant women by paying off maybe their health insurance. That those are part of CSR activities. As we've said, not all of them are socially responsible. in terms of investments, because some of them are emotion-led. The employees felt this was a good thing, or maybe the ED or the executive director or the CEO felt a particular way, or maybe in some organizations, every year they have a thematic area that they want to focus on. Some may say this year we want to do maybe climate, or the other year want to do health or education. But per time, per chance, is that the correct thing to actually invest in at that particular time, right? Like the UN has this kind of things, and also some embassies. Some embassies focus on some things and not others. Some are big on gender, right? Some are big on maternal health. Some are big on climate, or maybe just basically let's just plant trees. Some are big on renewable energy, in terms of what options are there other than just the usual, the light, the gas, and all that. Some are very specific and very, very niche, right? So as much as the investments, are they the best investments? Are they the best socially responsible investments? Okay. So the idea of sustainability investing is not emotion-led, like we said, and I'm sure you all recognize that a lot of these investments are emotion-led. It's like, for example, if you're just walking about and you see maybe a child and they're begging on the street. I know many of us will feel, mercy or pity for the child and give the child money. But is it always the correct thing to do? I'll give very down to earth examples so that you can relate. There's no point of using very, very big language, because no, the idea is to learn and be able to relate and to be practical in what you're doing. But is it always the correct thing when you're giving a beggar money? We all know that sometimes when you give some of these people money, they may go and buy drugs, or they may go and do other things that are not correct, vis-a-vis doing the right thing. Now, or if you give a child, say a 7-year-old child, and they're in, say, Lagos traffic or traffic in Zimbabwe in the heat, the first thing you should be asking yourself is, why is this child not in school? Or why is this child actually doing this? Where are their parents? That's the first thing as a responsible person. If you want to help, you should be asking. It's not just about giving the child money. You should be able to have questions at the back of your mind. Why is this happening? How can we remedy this situation sustainably? Because if you give that child, say, $100 today, tomorrow you'll find them there, and because they might even have forgotten that you gave them, they'll be asking you for money. Or even if they remember you, they'll be like, okay, that was enough for yesterday, what about today? So those are the kind of questions that you should be asking. Why is this thing happening? For you to be able to think about sustainable investing. Now, you have to think about different kinds of metrics and not just one metric. And all the things that you need to look at are social issues, of course. We are all social beings, and we are driven by emotions, and we feel particular way. And impact is actually driven by the heart. So the social issue, and then also the governance issue. When you see, for example, a woman giving birth by the roadside, you should ask yourself, why is this happening? It's not just because of maybe an infrastructure issue. It could be an infrastructure issue, actually. It could be that the person does not have money to be able to go to hospital. Maybe they don't have the right kind of support, and that goes to mental and, just general support. There are questions you should be asking. It's not just and not just about the woman giving birth by the roadside, but there are so many factors we need to look at. Is there no hospital close by, right? Or were they turned away by the hospital because of the fee, or the particular hospital they are going to? Is there no maternal health section, right? Those are the kind of questions that you ask. Social, governance, and also environmental. So many issues. Why did they not go there? Is there, in terms of environmental, it's not just as you know it, in terms of the trees and all that, but what kind of environment does this person live in, even when you think of the mental environment, that they're not able to make the correct decisions or get to where they are going in the right way, right? So whenever you have a problem to solve, you need to employ different decision-making processes that ask many questions. For example, there's a method we use, and it's very easy. It's called the 5 whys. Why is this child on the road at this time? Where is the mother of this child? Why are they not going to school? Is it because of the school fees, or is it because that there's no school? Some of them will tell you, we don't have uniform. Yes, there's a school, and yes, there's a mother that's willing to take them to school, but they don't have uniform. Why is the school not able to just admit these students? There's so many issues, and that's why institutions come into place and all that. When you talk about governance, by the way, governance is not only about the government, but governance speaks to organizations and their ways of governing. Like, for example, a school. A school could say you cannot come to school in torn uniform, notwithstanding that maybe the children they serve are from underserved communities, right? And that is a given that these children may actually come in torn uniforms, but it's not the uniform that's learning as a child. So what should they do? Or what should you do if you want to solve that problem? You need to start thinking about not just who will donate uniforms, because the thing is that children grow and outgrow these uniforms, but think about what's a sustainable way of actually ensuring that if the mothers are poor, or if some of them are tailors, how do we start a program that actually supplies not just this school, but other schools? How do we partner with, not just go to ask for money, but what corporate organizations that actually supply maybe textiles and maybe what's it called, sewing machines, those kind of things. What kind of partnerships can we get into? Because if you sit there and say, I want to start this thing and I need $200,000, you may not get it. Actually, you may not get it. But when you think about the whole ESG framework and the different stakeholders, then you may be able to solve this problem, right? Then it also involves integrating factors into analysis and selection of investments to generate long-term financial returns. Basically, what I just explained. Think of any issue as multifaceted, and think about different ways of solving the problem, bringing in different. One person cannot solve all the problem. The government can only go so far. Corporate organization can only go so far. NGOs can only go so far, right? How then do you bring everybody to the table? And also the owners of the problems themselves, these children, and also maybe their parents. How can they be involved in actually solving the problem sustainably? Because what's happening is that investors also want to see, nobody wants to invest their money into failing ventures or into things that are not sustainable or things that have actually a very short lifespan. Why would I give you $1 million and then after 6 months you tell me that we didn't take off? This project did not take off. Nobody wants to put in money where there's no return on investment. And when we talk about return on investment, we're not just talking about profits, we're talking about so many other metrics. And the idea is to understand what metrics each of the partners is actually looking at, right? So all the people talking about lack of funding and governance issues, I hope you're getting something. Look at it from, yes, this is a problem. Who can help me solve this particular problem, right? Now, a lot of us, and all of us actually, are the first thing that has brought us into this program is climate. And there's no divorcing climate and environment, right? Now, when you talk about climate, people do not, let's even think of a very, very basic thing like pollution, right? When I first moved to Nigeria, I was very, very shocked because of, I went into ShopRite and they were, what's it called? They were packing everything almost into one small nylon bag, or what do you call it? Nylon or paper bag, plastic bag. And I got such shock, because coming from Kenya, I mean, Rwanda people, I mean, kudos, you people have, you really took the issue of pollution seriously many, many years ago. Actually, I love Rwanda. I love visiting Rwanda because that place, you could literally sit on the ground and not feel like you're going to get dirty. I barely saw anywhere dirty, or maybe it's the places I went to, but Rwanda is doing extremely well. So Kenya adopted that. When I came to Nigeria, I was shocked. Just going into ShopRite and the way there's so much plastic, there's so much nylon, there's so much, and you know where it ends up? It ends up in the gutters, in the drainage. And when they talk about Nigeria flooding, and especially the island area where, I mean, people literally live on water. When it rains, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare in terms of the flooding that goes on, right? So when you think about pollution, it's good to think about the big things like, carbon poisoning and all that. Amazing, right? But it's also important to think about the things that affects everybody there and then. Now, it's good to clean up the streets, but we've seen people, there's a friend of mine who has won quite a number of awards and gotten a lot of investing because they started something in Digiri, Nakuru area, and they were taking plastics and actually making tiles, roofing out of it. I came to Nigeria and I saw so much innovation in terms of plastics also. People have gone on to make even flooring, and those kind of things. But first and foremost, are we teaching people about pollution from school? It's good to think about, I want to start something worth, $500,000. But can you start by just going into schools and teaching the young ones that please do not litter. You do not litter because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much would it cost you? For all the people talking about, lack of funding. Why I'm talking about this is because you have to start from the ground up. And I know it's important to pay your price. I'll be very honest with you. When it comes to sustainability, it's actually very important to earn your stripes. Why do I say this? Because the money in sustainability and climate is a lot. It's not small money. For people to be able to trust you with big money, they need to be able to see that you know what you're talking about from the ground up, right? So the issue of just even awareness, as you're receiving this knowledge from HACES and all the partners that they're partnering with, how are you disseminating this information to the communities that you serve, right? It's not just about doing cleanup exercises. It's amazing. But are you actually integrating the community into your efforts, right? When it comes to issues of biodiversity, they may not get it, but in the process of you just enmeshing the local organizations in what you're doing, then you can start having conversations about biodiversity. And if you learn anything from me today, I hope you can learn the importance of simplicity. Because like I said, sustainability can be very technical, but why we've not done very well in the field of sustainability is because we've always spoken in very in very technical terms that are not relatable. So adaptation has not been very good. Like somebody says, that lack of knowledge. I mean, you go and try to find information and someone is speaking Greek to you. Let's be the people that actually simplify this thing. As we learn, let's simplify it so that there's more adoption. Because there's no point of money being poured in millions of dollars and it's not actually impacting people, right? It's not impacting people. So I hope that this cohort will be those people that will actually learn and actually disseminate the information and knowledge in a way that people can understand, right? So let me check how we're doing.
Pauline.
Yes.
Is it possible to share your slides?
Yes, I will. I'm not actually using the slides yet. I'll get to sharing the slides at some point.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Everybody has heard that because some of the students just asked.
Yeah, slides. Okay.
Yes.
I'll share the slides, but what I'm using is the guide, but at some point I'll share the slides. Don't worry about it here. Right. So okay. Let me see. This was just like an introduction, okay? And like I'm saying is that it's extremely important to just to be able to relate not only to the people that you're working with, but to all the players involved, whether it's the government, whether it's, as we said, it's ESG, social governance and environment. Yes, you're working in environment, but how does governance understand you, right? When you go to your local governments, do they even understand climate? Climate, they may just think it's the weather patterns, right? How do you explain it to them so that they can onboard? Because we all know you can't do local, please, I'm sorry about the noise in the background. You cannot do local programs without the licensing, like someone mentioned, or even the permission, of the local governments. When you go to the corporates, how do you align yourself, So those are just some of the things that you really need to talk about. What's it called? To consider. Now, the other thing, there's one slide that I want you to look at very carefully. The next one, just hold on. And please, if there are any questions arising, please please just bring them on. Bring them on, sorry. Hello, can you see this now? All right. So when you talk about the issue of sustainability, I can see 3 hands are raised. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I'm not seeing anything related to. Okay. 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 So yeah. So when you look at that particular share that I've just done right now, Maiwa, I hope it's clear to everybody. Hello?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, good. So you can see all the issues that are encompass ESG. Now, the issue of sustainability is that ESG does not encompass all of sustainability, but ESG is a part of sustainability, right? Now, ESG has been widely adopted because of it's relatable and it's easy if we all take it. But we've actually seen from working on ground that people don't actually understand the issue of ESG. Now, this particular diagram should be able to show you the different issues. Say, let's first talk about the issue of governance, because you can't do much if you don't have the permit or the licenses to do what you need to. Now, the issues to consider are the issue of transparency, right? Not just from you, but also from, say, the local government. Are they willing to be able to be transparent on matters of, for example, do they have a budget for the particular issue that you want to solve, right? Now, we all know that government actually disseminates funds all the way to the local governments, right? From national funds all the way. Different countries have different ways of governance, but I know all of us, when it comes to grassroots, there's somebody there that would know or may not know. The idea is transparency. Is there like a national report that shows how much, let's say, money or what efforts are being addressed or are being focused on a particular issue? So the issue of transparency. Now, it could be that the people are being unscrupulous, or maybe they don't even know how to do reporting, how to report the matters on ground. Now, that's another way that you can go in and actually talk about this thing. Okay, we are working on this project, and this is the tenets of this project, and this is how it actually links to this particular problem that you want to solve. So transparency has to be there if we're going to succeed in our efforts. So issues of bribery and corruption, issues of, I know a lot of us have probably wanted to do something for our communities or, whatever, and you find that there are bottlenecks or there are roadblocks to you doing what you need to do. And somebody will be saying, you need to pay me, or you people are collecting too much money from USAID or from another development agency. You people need to be able to give us a percentage of that money for us to allow you to do your project. Has anybody ever experienced that? I know for sure that we have. There's one very big project that I was running in Kenya for USAID. And I remember going into that office, and as much as you're bringing money to do something, and somebody was like, no, you have to give us, you have to commit to give us a percentage of that money for us to allow this project to go on. As I said, all matters of social issues belong to the government, and there's nothing you can do if they don't allow you to work. Now, one of the things is that a lot of these development partners have zero tolerance for corruption and bribery. Now, how do you go about some of these issues? If people can share amongst even their small groups, Have you encountered this? How have you been able to maneuver this? The issues of corporate governance. Now, you might find that some organizations or some of these communities or whatever that you want to work with or as a partner or to serve these people, they may not have any set way or a system that works, right? Now, what can you do? You don't move away. If there's a way you can help them be able to put their house in order, I think it's important for you to see. Sometimes you go in as a value-add person for them to be able to allow you to work. It doesn't mean because you're carrying good things or you have good things that people will allow you do good. The idea is that you have to be very innovative in also how you choose to work with people and how to get your partnerships working for you. Risk management. Now, if somebody gives you an investment, how are you going to mitigate risk for them? Because as much as people, the return on investment may not be on profit. It depends also. Are you working with a venture capitalist or are you working with an angel investor or is it grant money? Even if it's grant money and it's free, you need to be able to have a good return on investment based off the metrics that the person that gave you money wants. It has to be satisfactory and you have to tick off, because the danger of receiving whatever funding that you do and you're not able to report well or be able to have marked impact or return on investment, again, based off the metrics that you both have agreed on, is that you may not be able to be funded again. Now, I know some people complain that some people get funded all the time and others don't get funded, and you feel that maybe people getting funded are not doing as much good work as you that's not getting funded. You need to check. You see, yeah, if people get money once, they're likely to get it again, right? If people are seen to be doing something and are in action, other people, these funders don't have time to go and look for who is doing too much good. And that's why it's always important, like I said, even when you don't have funding, just go out there and do projects. You'll get your name out there, you'll build your expertise, you'll know where the money is. People always think that money is in particular places, but I can tell you for free, the money is in close circles. If I use one word that Nigerians don't like hearing, is cults. It's sort of like a cult. It's a club, you know. We know where the money is. The problem is that people are not meeting those what's it called? The requirements to be able to get that funding. You may like an organization, what they're doing, but the organization that wants to lend the money may have a particular threshold of requirements that you have not met. So if you need to keep doing, you know, and show an edge in terms of your partnerships. Like I said, if you know how to partner very well, you'll make money. Because what happens is that sometimes let's say a particular government institution has the ear of one big funder, but they've been given what's it called? They've been given a condition that you have to work with grassroots organizations that are doing 1, 2, 3 things. But you have shied away from working with these government people. So what happens? You both lose out. You see the point? So as difficult as they are, be a solution provider to them, and they will name you in these places. Fine. So the social issues, of course, you know, society, value chain, the issues of diversity and human capital management. I'm sure you guys understand this fully well. Like we started earlier, just know what the society needs, where they are at, what they need. Be an expert on the issues of what is needed. And make sure you're getting factual. Somebody talked about data. That data is actually very important. We keep saying that what gets measured gets done. Use data as much as possible. There are even free tools all over. Try and always be able to measure what you're doing, to be able to report what you're doing at any one time. Have these things on your fingertips. When they're talking about how much impact do you have it on your fingertips, be able to report there and then. So of course, the value chain. Value chain speaks also to the issue of stakeholders. Who are you involved with? You can't be a one-man show, because again, you are not sustainable if you're the one you're the alpha and omega of the organization. What if you get hit by a bus? So we've given you $1 million and you've gotten hit by a bus. What happens? The investment goes. Work with partners. And also, that also shows that you have an accountability framework, right? So who are the people that you're working with? That's your value chain, your stakeholder loop. Issues of diversity, of course. You can't be a hater of, I'm sure, just go and check all the SDGs and see the issues of diversity. Of course, don't discriminate based on gender, based on faith, you know, based on ethnic grouping, you know, all those things. And also the issues of sexual preference, you know, and all those things. Just familiarize yourself with the issues of diversity, of course, human capital management. As you gain this knowledge, as you said, how are you managing your knowledge and how are you disseminating it? The issues of environment, you guys are experts in this. The issues of innovation, as you said, don't do things the same way people are doing. Think of innovative ways of doing things. I keep saying innovation is not only about tech, there's something called process innovation. How can I keep doing things better? Don't be 5 people that just do waste management collection. What else are you doing with it? Have you come up with a solution that actually dissolves all the waste in a minute? Have you come up with a way of actually recycling in a different way, not in the way people are doing? Have you found a way of mixing, let's say, tire waste and plastic waste? Have you found a way, or maybe a different grouping? Can women actually work with these tires? You know, those different kinds of ways. Have you found a way of making tires that last 30 years and not 10 years? You know, so innovate, okay? Waste management, it's not just about grouping of waste, and how are we actually even able to reduce waste or even not make any waste at all? So waste management is not just after the fact, after we've created the waste. How are we able to actually prevent wastage as much as possible, whether it's of water, whatever resource that you have, right? And also the issue of natural resources. We know that we're not producing as much natural resources there because of environmental issues. So as we said, how do we actually halt wastage to actually be able to what's it called, to actually manage issues of natural resources? Of course, climate stability. I mean, there are a lot of things. As we said, we can't get into everything in one day, but the idea is that please, if you can, I'll share these slides and then you can look at them maybe more in depth, and also maybe with time we'll be able to talk more about these things. So, and the other thing that I mentioned is that whatever pillar you are, if you're working in climate, you have to pair it up with something. Climate and health, climate and education, these things don't work in a silo at all. You know, you cannot work one thing in a silo, and you have to think about you have to think about sorry, you have to think about how you're going to just include different aspects, and especially the issues of the SDGs. On your screen right now, you should be able to see the different partnership pillars that you can work on. Please familiarize yourself with the issues of the SDGs, right? As we said, there has to be an intersection of none of these pillars work in silos at all. I can tell you for free. For example, when we're working on that particular education program, it was not just education, there was issues of youth, you know, there was issues of knowledge management. There were so many issues there. In between, we got other sponsors that came in to do health sponsorship. We got scholarships. We had some of these very well-performing the youth participants were able to actually go into Ivy League schools, because what we did is that we were working with A students. So some of them were able to go. We had somebody that went to Stanford. We had somebody that went to Cardiff, you know, because of our partnerships. So we're not just a local organization. We're able to get money from Clinton Global Initiative. I mean, we were able to actually get quite a number of partnerships that were now we were implementing for them. We're not just getting grants to do things. We're like, okay, there's this education program. Like now, some of them are bringing digital literacy, right? And we're able to use our volunteers to actually roll out the program, you know, roll out the program for them. Like I said, you start simple, but you never know what goes along the way. And as you go, you're learning. You know, conferences, we're able to panel in conferences and moderators. And I said, because at that point, I mean, I was always among the youngest people in the room, and that really propelled me. And that's why I'm really excited. I don't know what age brackets you're all in, but if you take sustainability very seriously, it pays, and you'll never be out of a job opportunity. I can tell you for free. The thing is that when you're talking about sustainability, don't only think about your ventures. Some of us are professionals, right? Because you need to be able to do advisory. you know, as like for us, we do a lot of ESG advisory, we do CSR advisory, and which is very tailored to each organization. The issues of HACI are not the issues of Become Change Institute. So you also can do that angle. Not all of us are meant to have one program or the other, because there's the danger of also replicating. Some of us are good at as professionals. Look into it, you know, be the person that actually advises. I can tell you for free, among all the people that are here, you might find that people have replicated efforts, and it's not a bad thing. It just means that maybe you guys should partner up more. And for example, especially when you're looking for funding, there's some funds that are large and they say that you need to partner up. I can tell you, like, for example, I've had a very small grant of about $600,000 for the last 3 years that I've been managing. And the thing is that people give you proposals worth 40,000, $40,000 and all that. Now, the problem is that people don't want to partner up. Like, why don't you guys come together and put three things together and be able to work together? And people don't want to do that. Don't be those people, please. Please partner up. There's some programs that I've designed that we were talking about regional cooperation. So we're looking, I don't know if any of you know about the regional leadership centers for the yearly RLCs. Please, there's a call for participation in that, and please check it out. So I was also the youth technical advisor for that when we were setting up in 2015. So when we came from the partnership, from the fellowship, we're like, okay, we feel that there's more youth that may not all be able to go to the US that can do this. And the RLCs were set up, and there's East, West, and South Africa. Please go in there, because there's some funds that I am part of, just coordinating and overseeing, that we talk about. We need Ethiopians, Kenyans, and South Africans on this, because we want like regional cooperation on projects, right? So think about partnerships. I can tell you, partnership will take you far in sustainability. Making it on your own in sustainability is very, very difficult. Maya will tell you that for HACI to get where it is, there's a lot of partnerships that have been in play, right? Just partner up, please. Partner up as much as possible. Find out who is in the same area as you. Don't look at it as competition, collaborate, and also look outside of climate. Who else is doing education? Because the way we are, just embrace who you are as a multi-dimensional person. See how you can integrate education and climate, or health and climate, or gender and climate, the different things. That's how you'll get financing. The long and short of it, without getting too technical, because I know all of us want funding to do our projects. You cannot do good without money, right? So we've talked about all these issues: environmental, social factors, and governance factors to consider. We've also talked about risk mitigation. You remember that former slide that I shared with you guys. I'll share it with the Mayowa and team, and I'm sure that they'll be able to share it with you. So we've talked about risk mitigation. Of course, all of us are in this for impact. Then we can go into types of sustainable investments, the different things. For example, renewable energy. Please, if anyone can share what their projects are, simply, who is bold enough to actually share with us about their projects? Hello?
Yeah, okay, so I can see two hands raised. So what's the question again?
The question is, somebody can tell us about their renewable energy program in a very few words, like tell us what you're doing.
Okay, so perhaps still Precious wants to speak, so let me just give you the permission. So Precious, would you want to share this idea? You can mute your mic. The floor is yours now. Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Okay, you're audible now.
Hello, please can you?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Question about the renewable energy that we are talking about.
Okay.
Okay. We want to use charcoal. Please, I hope you know charcoal.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. To produce a briquette.
Okay.
To produce a briquette to minimize the use of firewood in the rural areas. But we are trying to eliminate, at the same time, we are trying to eliminate the use of gas. But we are stuck. So I just want to confirm for you, what are the things or materials that can help us to produce a briquette so that we can produce to the people who are in rural areas so that they don't use a firewood because they are cutting all the trees, which cause deforestation. Because when you engage in conversation with them, they are telling you that they don't have anything. The only thing that they have is firewood. So I'm trying to bring in briquettes so that they can use briquette as a fire to do their things. So what are some of the things that you can use to help me to achieve that aim?
Okay, thank you very much for that. Pauline, hope you got the question.
Yes, I did. I got it. He's talking about briquettes, and he wants to solve a very noble problem before they cut off all the trees, right? And
Of
it becomes a
course.
desert. Now, why not gas? I think he said that he doesn't want gas. I don't know why, and I suspect he's Nigerian, is it? I don't know. Where are you from?
No,
Where is
I'm
Precious
not
Please,
sure
from?
it's from Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm from Ghana.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a
are you from
Ghanaian.
Ghana? Oh, sorry. Okay. So is there a
Yes,
particular
please. I'm a Ghanaian
reason why you're averse to gas?
No, it's not concerned about only Ghana. Like I just want to eliminate deforestation in my community at the same time the entire region. So I'm trying to bring something in or to bring something
Yeah.
new.
Okay. So I'm saying yes, briquettes is good, but why are you? There's so many other energy sources. Why are you averse to gas? Is there a reason why?
Oh, I'm still doing a lot of research, so maybe very soon I'll come out with my research because I'm doing a lot of research which concern about preservation, wood
Okay.
preservation. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a wood scientist, so any research that I'm doing is concerned about wood. So my next research was preservation, the use of the natural preservative to treat wood. That's my
Okay.
second project that I'm on it now. So for now on there, I'm basing on the briquette, how to produce briquette. So I'm using what do you call bamboo to produce a briquette, and I'll add charcoal to it. So that's my main research I'm doing for now.
So at the end of the day, you still need wood for the charcoal as much as you're using the bamboo. Okay, I asked a question. Why you averse to gas? Is there a reason why you're avoiding the issue of gas?
Because gas has caused a lot of things in my community. So I just
It costs
trying
what?
to bring in gas is causing a problem in my community.
What kind of
Gas
problem?
explosion.
What kind of gas explosion?
Explosion. Yes, please.
Okay. Why
Uh,
why is it causing explosion? Is it because it's not safe, or is it the problem of the manufacturers or the problem of the users?
I don't know the type of gas they are using, the consumers are using. So every week we reported gas explosion in my
Okay.
community. Every week.
So the reason I'm actually doing this is for everybody to be able to ask themselves a number of questions whenever, why have you chosen the project? Fine. Now you said even if you use bamboo, we all know first and foremost that bamboo takes time to grow, right? Do you
Yes,
have a
please.
ready source of bamboo supply?
Yes, please.
Like, are you
Yeah.
sure? And when I say that, you have 20 years supply of bamboo, because we don't want you doing this project and then 3 years later you tell us that you've run out of bamboo. We're talking
We have,
sustainability here. We're talking about
yeah,
sustainability. So that's why I'm asking this question. Very, very important, because this is what the investor would ask you. Because I know at some point you'll say you need funding, right?
because listen, madam, please, in Ghana, we don't
Hello?
They are not
Hello?
making proper use of it. Yes, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you that in my community, they don't value bamboo. So
Okay.
the time I came to university, I was in Department of Wood Science and Technology, and we do a certain courses concerned about bamboo. And I realized that bamboo has a lot of what potential use. Okay, so maybe after my graduation, I'll go back to my community and I'll add value to bamboo, not to produce only briquettes. Since they don't value bamboo in my community, I can use those bamboo in my community to produce briquettes at the same time add value to it.
Okay. So basically, you have not yet done proof of concept for this, right?
What do you say?
You've not yet done proof of concept for this, right? Like you've not gotten like the questions. Why I'm doing this session is to show you exactly how, for example, somebody that wants to finance your project or idea, the kind of questions that they would ask. So what I'm getting is that you're still at ideation, sort of, right?
No, madam, please, the thing is wrong. I'm
Yeah?
still on it. Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm still on it. So if it succeed, I'll give you the report so that maybe I can go in for someone who can help me, or I can go in for grant or any kind of thing. So for now, yeah, I'm still working on it because my second project, I did with a certain white woman, a white woman, the preservation. Yeah, I did with a certain white woman. She's from Italy. The time I was doing that project, she told me that she want to support me, so she assisted me to do everything. So I'm hoping that my first project will be hit, or I'll get a sponsor when I'm done. So right now I'm still on it.
Okay, so all right, thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Should we be able to interface later? Then we see how to help you with your thoughts and ideas as you move along. Now, thank you. So when people think about renewable energy, they're always thinking about heating, right? All of us are thinking about how a different way of, say, cooking food, or lighting up our homes, right? But has anyone thought of preservation? For example, we all know, and I'm doing an interface between renewable energy and sustainable agriculture right here, right? With this project that I'm about to propose to you. This is for everybody. Everyone thinks about heating, and whether it's for cooking or for whatever reason. But think about all the agriculture that goes to waste because of lack of proper preservation, especially in the rural areas. And we're talking about the issue of food insecurity, right? When food is there, it's not just to be cooked, but also to be preserved. This goes to everybody. Who is doing a project in the intersection of renewable energy and agriculture? Is there anybody? Okay. I don't see any hands or anything. So think innovatively in terms of not just the heating, but for example, preservation efforts. I know, for example, in Nigeria, there's a lot of production of pepper, tomatoes, right? And in the last few months, Nigerians in the house will attest to how expensive tomatoes have been. And we all know pepper is life. Stew soups need pepper. Ghana too, right? So in Kenya, don't mind us, we use 3 tomatoes to cook. So I still get shocked at the number of tomatoes that Nigerians use. In Kenya, we use very little tomatoes to cook. Now, it has been very expensive, but we all know that there are times of bounty where we have a lot of tomatoes in circulation and they go bad. Has anybody thought about preservation measures when it comes to renewable energy and agriculture? Has anybody thought about fridging, refrigeration? What can you do in the rural settings? Now, if we all think about heating and cooking and all those things, we're not going to get funding. We won't grow. We won't be sustainable. There's a million. I'm not talking to you. Hello, Precious. I'm talking to everybody else now.
Okay.
Yes.
Please, can you hear me?
Precious, I can hear you, but I've moved back to the lesson. Right? So I was talking about renewable energy and how a lot of people just translate renewable energy in terms of heating solutions. Now, like I said, you need to think about different pillars, right? For your innovations to be funded, for them to be sustainably financed. Now, I talked about all the wastage that we get in terms of agricultural products, which leads to food insecurity. Is there anybody with an innovation or a project that touches on renewable energy and sustainable agriculture? Okay, I don't know if there is. Now, the idea is that I gave a very simple idea of the way Nigerians are very reliant on tomatoes for their stews and their soups. Like they use a lot of tomatoes. Now, in the last few months, it's been very difficult to get tomatoes and they've been very expensive. Now, in terms of bounty, when there's large harvests, who is preserving these tomatoes for them? I'm assuming that in Nigeria, not everybody has access to good lighting 24/7, and more or less anywhere in Africa, in rural settings, not everybody has a freezer or a fridge, right? Let alone just access to good lighting. But when you come up with an innovation solution that can at the intersection of agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy, you have a winner. Now, think about places that have, let's say, clay, right, or whatever soil, and kind of come up with a refrigeration kind of service or a preservation, because again, people may think of preservation again in terms of drying. There's some things you can't dry. If you dry a tomato, then you've killed it, especially when it comes to the purposes of cooking stews and soups. How can you preserve tomatoes to remain fresh? If you remember, I don't know how many of us are conversant with earthen pots. Long time ago, when we'd go to our villages, there were earthen pots that I remember my grandmother would store things in there and dig up a hole and put very cold water inside there, and it would become like a fridge, right? That's renewable energy right there. And let's not become too woke that we forget simple things that actually work, that may not cost a lot of money, right? Because it's good to have big ideas. I want to have a big manufacturing plant that costs a lot of money, and I have to look for somebody to fund me. What if you don't get it, right? Then you get discouraged and move on. So think about other things, refrigeration services, and which problem are you solving? Articulate it as, I want to solve the issue of food insecurity. We all know that the economy is going haywire everywhere in the world, and food is becoming a very big issue, right? And that also boils down to the issue of livelihoods, right? Livelihoods and health. Are you seeing? So when you're solving the issue of climate, right, I'm able to use natural resources in a way that I'm able to even recycle. Because if you're using soil, you can keep recycling the soil, you can keep using the soil. Soil generates, especially, just use that in your local communities. Show people how to do that. Solve 5, 6 problems with your solution. Just don't say, I'm here for climate. Climate with that is partnering with 5 other things and solving a myriad of problems. And people will actually invest in you. Why? Because there's impact, and it's hitting people. Somebody from health can actually fund you, right? So if somebody from health gives you $50,000, and somebody that's thinking about food insecurity gives you another 100,000, do you see you're able to actually fund your project? Because as we said, not many small organizations are able to give you the size of grants that you need. A lot of these organizations that are funding climate are the AFDPs and all these large organizations that may not be able to look at somebody who's at startup level. So that's how to be able to actually position yourself for good climate financing, right? Yeah. So you have to be able to prove that you have impact and you know what you're doing. Now, the issue of green bonds and social responsible funds, that is gets into very technical terms and very technical things. But as we said, data, you need to be able to measure what you're doing. If for whatever if your project is actually reducing the carbon footprint, are you able to measure it? Yes, it's a good thing that you're doing, but are you able to actually measure How can you do this? By employing tech instruments, IoT, Internet of Things. There's some that are able to measure actually all those things. And if you have proof of concept, then you can be able to actually say, this is the work that we are doing, this is how we are contributing to this issue, and you will get your financing. Now, also, if you're in an organization and you people, some things are inevitable that some of the work that we do, especially in oil and gas and those kind of what's it called? A lot of things, the byproducts will actually have a negative carbon footprint. Even up to good people like the MTNs, all these telecommunications, with all their masts and all that, will have a negative. But what are they doing towards that? I'll tell you, for example, Chevron here in Nigeria. I don't know if the people in Nigeria, I'm sure, or anybody else, you can quickly Google the Lekki conservation, the Lekki conservation. So it's a green area with a lot of trees and all that. So what they've done is they've actually a lot of organizations give towards the conservation center, right? They say, okay, because of our operations as a corporate entity, we have all these ACs running, we have all these operations. So what we can do, because we are actually contributing negatively to the environment, what we can do is that we can use our money to be able to offset that. We're going to do good with our money to, I don't want to say cancel it out, but to make things better. Does that make sense? Right? Because all these ACs that we're using, that's air conditioners, they are all necessary, but they also have a negative effect. I mean, imagine a tall building that has over 100 ACs running at the same time. What does that do for the environment? Okay, we've seen some daring organizations like Sterling Bank green up the whole of they have a big building that is green, literally. They've used the surfaces of their building as a green. They use solar only, basically. They're solar panels, right? What have they done? They are doing a bold statement that we are green. We are using solar. We are not relying heavily on electricity, especially in a country like Nigeria that has power issues. We are going green. So what does that mean? If they're able to do that, that means then they are able to finance, hopefully to finance to these initiatives. You yourself, as you do your small office there, instead of relying heavily on electricity, why can't you use solar panels, or why can't you use the wind? Are they called windmills or what? The small ones. I can tell you, like yesterday, I was just walking around and I saw in our neighborhood somebody has one very large windmill, and they have power, right? The area has good electricity, but the person has decided, you know what, I'm going to integrate clean energy into my home, right? Ourselves, in my home, we are 80% on solar, right? We have 24 hours light where we live, but we actually installed solar panels. Why is that? Because we cannot be preaching, positive climate action and sustainability and ESG and doing the opposite. And what has that done? It has brought our power costs really, really, really low, like really low. And to make it better is that our solar is actually hybrid. It's actually powered also by electricity. When we have electricity, we can charge it. So it has reduced our cost, if we were just relying on EKDC, but we don't do that. So 80% of the time we are on solar, right? And it's able to power the whole house, everything. Like now during the day as we speak right now, we've been on solar. It powers on at 6:30 in the morning, and around 7 p.m. when the sun goes down, then we can switch back. But we don't even switch back to electricity because the batteries have been charging the whole day. So that's what I'm saying. I can assure you we are up to 80%, and we have actually an app that shows it. So there's different ways that we can actually incorporate, not only in our initiatives, but also in our daily living. Everyone is complaining about the high cost of living. Yes, the initial investment may be high, but the people who are actually willing to finance some of these things for our home. Sustainability is not just about big projects, but it's about the things that we do day to day in our personal lives and also in the lives of the communities. How do we now talk to banks to actually finance homes, for solar or for wind energy and those kind of things. When we talk about climate, we always talk about big projects like big solar complexes in Morocco, or big projects. Yes, those are powered by governments and the World Banks and all that. But at our level, what can we do? And how's the World Bank actually get to see our efforts and give into them till we become as big, right? Now, does anybody have a question as we move along? Hello, any questions?
Yes, I think I saw a question. So, if anyone of us have questions, use the Q&A to drop your questions, and the chat feature to drop comments.
I can see a quick one. Somebody asking, does the solar power everything? Yes, it powers our freezers, everything. It powers everything. Freezers, fridge, AC. Of course, the air conditioners we've gotten are also solar friendly. Don't go and get your big AC, it will drain off. So there's just a few adjustments that you make, but it pays off in the long run. Yeah. I think I saw that question there. So it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually possible. So,
so I
other
saw
than
a
just
question here.
Yes, okay, please help me with the questions, Mayowa. Please
Yeah.
read them for me.
Okay, so this is interesting. It said, Colin,
Yes.
could you please address the right thing to do when faced with community leaders demanding for money before one is allowed to execute a project in that community?
Okay. Actually, I've faced this problem. Yes, I've faced this problem severally. Sometimes you have to abort mission, right? Sometimes, and that's why when you have a project that you want to run, you have to think about different sites for it or different ways of doing it, right? So that when you're told a no, because you have to look at the values that you stand for, not just for yourself, but also your partners, not just your funders, but also your partners. If you totally don't have tolerance for corruption and bribery, if you can't do it, you can't do it. The other thing is to look, of course, the problem is that if you report some of these things, they may work against you in the long run. But if there's a way to actually mitigate the issue by going a step further, or rephrasing what you want to do, or like I said, sometimes you partner with another organization that is already doing something in relation to what you're doing. So that way you have a leg in. Does that make sense?
Okay.
For example, you remember we talked about if you want to do a maternal health program, right? And somebody else has a project on maternal nutrition, for example, right? And they already have the licenses and everything, and they're running their project. How can you work with this person, right? Sometimes you look at how do I add value so that I'm on the table where these people are at, right? And you're already integrating yourself in one way or the other. I'm not saying go and work for them, but I'm saying you're integrating parts of your of what you're doing with this organization that's already established, and you're already among the stakeholders. They'll not be able to say no to you. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you don't get in through the door, sometimes you get in through the window. And that's what I was talking about, innovative processes. If that makes sense. Because if you go now and report them, I mean, you could also get killed. Nowadays the world is very strange. Or they could totally blacklist you because you have exposed them. So you have to start thinking innovatively, like, fine, if I don't do it in this side, can I do it in another way? Or who else is doing something and already has a door in or a leg in this particular place that I'm interested in working? Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes. So you have to think about very unique ways of getting in there. Sometimes, I want to do this thing in 3 years. So you start working with other people. There's some projects that we've worked with, and Maya will say, over the years, but they were propping for other things in future. Do you get what I'm saying? When you're thinking sustainability, you can't think, I have to do it today. Sustainability is about long term. It's about the future. So you also need to exercise a lot of patience when it comes to sustainability. It's not a microwave thing, because you need to remember that these fast solutions and microwave solutions are the ones that have put us in the climate mess that we are in today. So you yourself need to have that mindset of, you know what, this thing is taking longer than anticipated. It's okay. This is what I'm going to be doing in the long run, but it's building up towards that, right? And as you work with other people, you might actually find a way of actually making your project bigger than what it eventually was supposed to. I mean, what it was initially supposed to be. Does that help? Maya, do you think that my answer helps? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
But
saying something. I was
uh,
saying most definitely. I mean, one of the hallmarks of sustainability is that beyond the life span of the um project, do you
yeah.
have enough? Can you access those resources unlimited? How can you sustain the project after the period that you had planned, that you execute the project, that long-term thinking, that's what sustainability is all about. So,
Yeah.
so for those people, you need to consider all those factors. That's why, yes.
All right. So I know we've
There's
talked about a
another
lot of things. Okay, is there another one?
Yes, something
Mm-hmm.
on data. I think you mentioned, that. So the question was asking that data is one of the yeah. So the question is one of that data is one of the biggest contribution in decision making, but data is also one of the biggest hindrance in understanding the effects of climate change
Mm-hmm.
and coming up with realistic, sustainable solutions. How
Mm-hmm.
can we go about getting the right data, especially in the grassroots level?
Okay. So I always say this, the problem with data is that anyone can feed whatever data they want to fit their whatever they want to fit, right? Uh, First and foremost is that whatever data that you get, or first and foremost, if you get any data, you can use it as a benchmark and you can test against it, right? But most importantly, all of us, whatever we are doing, if we are not incorporating data, we need to start incorporating data from the onset, even if it's zero. Just record that zero until it grows into something, right? First and foremost, like we said, data it's like Google. Google is fed by whoever wants to feed it, right? If somebody writes a bad thing about you today, it will be on the internet. Now, the thing is that data is the same thing. Anybody can put out data to suit what they want to suit. Now, unfortunately, if you have to benchmark against it, then you have to. But you cannot rely on it 100%. You also have a responsibility to build your own data sets, to have your own reporting framework for your data. Everything you do measures up onto something. Like I said, you may not know even how to start reporting with your data. There are free tools. You can just Google the different tools. Some are free, some are very limited in their in their subscription fees, as it were. But if you cannot afford it, just use simple Excel. Use simple Excel, because whenever you're coming to ask for advice, or even if you want investment, all of us will just ask for data. If you say you've been operating for 2 years, we want to see the proof, because we'll also do our own investigations. But most importantly, you need to come up with your own information that we can check against, right? So ourselves, as we are, all of us that are in this cohort, we need to start reporting everything, whatever it is. Whether it's a negative report, whether it's a positive report, please put it there. It works. It doesn't mean because you have a negative report that you won't get funded. People that are realistic get funded. Trust me. Just be truthful in your reporting. Even when you've gone backwards, it's okay. Just report it, because that means then, like we said, the other factors that are contributing to your work not moving to up to a certain point, and that is when now you may even find redemption by saying work with partner X. Partner X will be able to support you in 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5 things. So fine, data is a deterrent, but it's also the one that can propel you, whether it's negative or positive. If data is there, use it as a benchmark, or use it just to check your markers, or use those metrics that they're using, but have your own data sets. Does that answer it?
All right. All right. Thank you very much. For today's class, we'll be closing in a few minutes. in less than 7 minutes. So Pauline, can you just do probably a recap, and then you can call it a day for today. Then before
Okay.
thank
First
you.
and foremost, I'm really impressed by all the work that Hayes is doing, all the program participants in this. It's quite impressive. And to see that you're from all over Africa, I love that. Global mindset. And the idea is that always remember that you have to have your own ingrown solutions. It's good to do as much. If you want to grow in sustainability, you have to research every day, because there's always something new coming in. Now, we are in the last dash. It's now 7 years to the end of this, and this is when people are actually getting really active. You have a chance to stand out with your efforts. Like we said, it's very, very easy. Please, it's not as hard. Okay, it's as hard as you want it to be, or as simple. Think innovatively in terms of your processes. Think about incorporating the different SDGs into what you're doing. I think I've given several examples of what you can do, right? Make sure that your solution is not just looking at one thing, and make sure that your solution is not the most obvious that 1,000 other people are doing. Think innovatively. If everybody is thinking about heating, think about refrigeration, think about preservation, solve 5 problems with your solution. Somebody will see you, right? Put your submissions out there. A lot of us are not active on LinkedIn or whatever. Put it out there. Trust me, sometimes people already know who to fund. It's just that you've not already come out. And unfortunately, a lot of people getting funded are the ones who are always very active, putting things on social media, but they may not have the work that they're doing. You are too busy doing the work, which is amazing. But you also have to set apart time to actually talk about what you're doing, to show yourself. It's not about going to conferences and taking pictures with people, but make sure that your work is speaking for you. We live in an era where who knows you is more important than who you know. Do you understand? I can tell you something. I have never looked for a job. Jobs find me. Why? Because one project, and at any one time, I'm not doing one project. There are different projects always looking, because of the people that know that you can deliver. So get into the right loop, and you'll be very surprised. It's not about working for the big organizations or partnering. And I'll tell you something. It's very flattering, and Maya will tell you, when big partners are actually wanting to partner with you. So you're no longer writing just proposals, but there are people saying, oh, you need a problem solved, this so and so that knows how to do it. The only way to do that is to do. Just keep doing what you need to do. Partner with who you're partnering with. You're very lucky to be in a class that has people from all over Africa. Please be of value. Don't always think about, let's write a proposal to get money and split it. No. Think about how you can tell somebody from Zimbabwe, oh, we have a great innovation in Tanzania, in Rwanda. Maybe you can replicate it here. Replicate, and incorporate different things. Honestly, that's the only way to make it in this impact space and to actually get funding. I'll be honest with you. It's the only way. Replicate, partner up. Don't be afraid of partnering up for big projects, because as we said, a lot of climate funds are big funds, but you may not cut it. You may not be able to cut it if you don't partner up. Please just do that. Replicate and share ideas, because you may be selfish with an idea from Kenya, which may be very good in Nigeria or Rwanda or Zimbabwe or South Africa. At this point in time, we just put everything on the table. For example, we know how innovative Nigerians are in the food sector, and yet people in East Africa may be suffering from just eating the same staples. Kenyans, I'll tell you something. You are saying that the price of people have been striking because of the price of maybe let's even say swallow is ugali. We have corn flour only. Nigerians have like 10 types of swallows from everything. Even rice makes flour. Potato makes flour. Plantain has different variations. There's cassava, there's yam, are you getting what I'm saying? So sit down. I've just used food because we all eat food, but just think about sitting down and just having a cross-pollination of ideas. You'd be surprised at what comes out of that, because whatever you may be looking to get funded may not be getting funded, but you may get an idea from Kenya that you can actually replicate in South Africa or Zimbabwe or Rwanda or Nigeria that could get funded, and vice versa. It may look normal in Nigeria, but it's abnormal elsewhere, or it's much needed elsewhere. So please use this platform very, very, very well, right? Use this platform very well. I think in a nutshell, hard things should just be simplified. It's really as simple as that.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today's class. We've tried to make sure that we are ending this session exactly on the hour. For your questions and other comments, yeah, okay, please go ahead. I'd like to give a special shout out and appreciation to our facilitator for making our time. Please, let's just go ahead to show our appreciation. Pauline Motoni Abiola Oshuni has vast experience in terms of sustainability, in terms of sustainable investing. And, just like I keep mentioning, beyond this class, you have the opportunity to reach out to the facilitators. Just introduce yourself, and you have a leg in, to just do a one-on-one free consultation with them. At this point, I'd like to thank each and every one of us for creating time out of our busy schedules. Some of us are students, running our classes at the same time listening to this lecture. Some of us are in our offices and doing different things. I like to appreciate each and every one of us and the organizers. AC, I like to appreciate my colleagues. Please, there's a task in the Telegram group. Someone has also dropped it on the WhatsApp group. For today also, we have considered those that had network issues. So please, we also dropped the attendance on the Telegram group. You can fill in the attendance there. The next class is going to be on Thursday. We are going to be going deeply. We are going to dive in deep into sustainable investing. We hope to see each and every one of us. We say have a fruitful day ahead. Goodbye. And take care of yourselves. Bye.
All right, bye everybody. I hope to see all of you.
Bye, Pauline.
All right,
bye, Pauline. Have a blessed day. Bye. Bye, everyone.
All right, you too. Bye.